She says nothing.
Yeah.
And that's not just jumping on, well, because everybody else does. No, just listen to her.
Yeah.
It's like, I can do Kamala Harris for you right now. Ask me a tough question. Anything.
Oh.
Doesn't even have to be politics.
Yeah. What do you think about the border policy right now?
Well, that's it. I mean, anything. Just anything else.
Oh, what, like about a drink?
Sure.
What kind
Any
of drink?
question.
Yeah, any question.
Come up with anything and I'll
Can I
answer
ask
like
you a
Kamala
yes
Harris.
or no question? Like make it really simple. When you wake up in the morning, do you like coffee or tea?
You know, that's a really good question. Because waking up in the morning is something that we all have to deal with. And that's why we have to answer that question. And when you have to answer that question, it's because the question itself helps to forge a path forward. So when we come together, I think that we need to make those decisions around that question so that we get the answer that we want.
That's good, dude. I was thinking this
It's not
morning.
fucking hard.
You could go on stage.
Really?
I think my co-host could do some stage work.
Put me up there, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of exploring opportunities.
Yeah, that's good.
Got my Kirklands.
Yeah, well, I got
my
those.
Nature Bar.
Those are good.
I'm just going to start munching away.
Those are very good. And we sound good because I got the headphones.
I can't
so I'm
tell.
yeah.
Did we do sound good?
Yeah,
We
did.
sounded great on that. Oh, wait, hold on. We got to do a little hand clappage. Don't
hand
wait.
smashing.
We didn't do hand smash last time.
I know. Sorry, Julian.
All right, all quiet on the set. Oh, did you hear that little...
Yeah. I got a headline for you because we were just talking pregame setup.
All
We
right.
had a little something going on. COVID hospitalization surge as new variant XEC spreads across the UK. We're fucked. I think we should shut it down again.
I mean, this is the same fucking headline they
XEC
put out.
sounds pretty bad, though.
They all sound stupid. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like this. Compare that to how many
I don't know, dude.
flu-related hospitalizations there are right now.
I'm sorry. This
Because
is the Independent, so we know it's
So we know it's legit.
legit. Yeah.
Well,
It's filled with ads. I can't
I
get
know,
to
man,
it.
that's
And
the
here
worst.
they put on the front, it's
Donald
Trump.
Trump. Yeah.
They
Gotcha.
should put Kamala Harris's Fox News interview on the front.
I've just now started catching some of the clips from it.
Holy
Oh
God.
my God.
You know what's interesting is, like a child, well, not even a child, like a grown ass man or woman shows up. Let's say I'm meeting with you. Hey, I'm already don't like you,
Right.
angry at you. Something's happened. We have like a lot of beef in history.
A
Maybe
lot.
it's your family. There's
Probably.
yeah, it goes
There's
way
a lot
back.
of inbreeding, which creates poor behavior.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So I show up
Yes.
and we're just kind of a conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm just, it built up so much. And you open your mouth
Mm,
and you say something, you might even say something nice or indifferent.
I think your hair looks great today.
What do you mean my hair looks fucking great?
It looks
Why
great.
would you talk about that? What's wrong with you?
Nothing.
That's what it was. That was the first line. She showed up so angry
Yeah.
because she was on Fox. And I get it. It was probably going to be a little bit of an attack, and immediately turned defensive and angry before the interview got started. And that's when it was lost. Like the Cleveland Browns call timeout. Let's regroup, pull the shit together, take a deep breath. It's going to be fine. And they just lost it.
I wish the Cleveland Browns would do that.
Yeah.
But in fact, Stefanski's clock management has been garbage, so that analogy sucks.
You know what it was like, though? The Browns are so done that the only thing that would work for them is if they called the Kansas City Chiefs up
Mhm.
and said, hey, guys, we're going to schedule an impromptu game on Wednesday.
Can they do that?
They can't. But if they could,
Okay, yeah.
if there's an alternate universe, they
Sure,
could,
yeah, yeah.
right? So it's
Mhm.
Wednesday. Just thought of this. This is good. The Browns are like, we're fucked. But if we beat the Chiefs in Kansas City, everyone's going to be like, holy shit, the Browns are back. The Browns are here. They were never
Right.
there. They're started.
Yeah.
That was like her showing up on Fox, being like, that's a fucking Hail Mary. And maybe
Yeah.
it could go well. Like when Aaron Rodgers throws a Hail Mary against
Right.
the Bills.
Oh my
Every
God.
time he completes the Hail Mary. But when
That was amazing.
but this just was like intercepted and actually returned for a touchdown. The election's over.
Oh, dude.
It's so over. Dude.
I mean, the fact that she felt like she had to go on Fox News.
That's what I'm saying. That's the Browns showing up in Kansas City being like, hey guys, let's run
Now
a
your
one.
analogy starts to work a little.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but your hair does look nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I just want you to know that.
I would never show up angry at you. I don't think.
No, you
maybe I
keep
could.
it stuffed deep down inside, and then you would
That's what
blow
you
up
would
on
do.
your kids and your wife
Oh
and stuff.
God, that's
and
terrible.
then
Yeah.
you guys would all go to therapy, and it would take probably months and months. And then finally the therapist would get down to it and he would start yelling or she would start yelling at you and you go, it's Jared.
It's Jared.
And he's like, now we're making progress.
Now we're getting somewhere.
And you're not the first person to say that. That's how that would go.
I get it.
Yeah. I appreciate more if you just blow up and then we can get it over with and then keep recording.
Yeah. How should she have shown up for that interview? I probably be the nicest person ever, but she couldn't.
No. Here's the thing, man. Look, and I'm not trying to be
I've
mean.
only caught clips, so I'm not a...
You know, in the last episode, I said, we were talking a little bit about the election. I just said, if you'd have told me 4 years ago that I'd consider voting for Donald Trump at the next election, I'd have said, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
I need to clarify that. I don't like Trump. He's entertaining, for sure.
Yeah.
But this really is the lesser of two evils argument.
Well, that's for you. Some people might really like him.
Well, no, okay. I'm not saying I'm right and they're wrong. What I'm saying is from my own perspective, as all individual people have to make this decision on their own.
Yeah.
I was talking to my buddy Paul yesterday too, and he was saying this as well. He said, these kids are in college. So they're going through the college age, like quite, like we were when we were young, like questioning everything and
philosophy class.
It's just like, man, we need to tax the rich, and it's like, no, that's not how the economics work. The rich don't actually get an income; they get dividends. It's not the same as apples. Like there's all these things we just don't know.
They got really good accountants, and I
was like, they can afford really good people who understand tax law really well. Trust me, one day you'll strive to have one of those on your side.
That'd be good.
So they're going through all this stuff here, and then about the election and everything else, and Paul just told his kids, he said, look, just keep in mind, if you keep it in the realm of it's the lesser of two evils, meaning that neither of these candidates, nobody's excited about either of them for real. I mean, there are some diehard MAGA people for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're informed and you're thoughtful, you're looking at these two choices and you're just going, what the fuck? I mean,
you don't think Elon's informed?
No, Elon is not running for president. That's the difference, right?
He's all in on this. We talked about
for sure. But Elon's a businessman. But he sees the opportunity for himself, and he's able to say, "Look,
voted Democrat." At least that's what he says.
Yeah,
right?
Look, but Elon's not a MAGA guy. Elon's a business guy. Elon's a guy who understands, like, oh, okay, I need to be 5 steps ahead of everybody else.
Yeah,
this alliance here, helping this. He knows how to tap into all of those things, and then he also doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So if something doesn't work,
does give a fuck because he is fucked. Like when he was on Tucker Carlson, he's like, "I'm going to prison if I lose." They're going to shut X down. I mean, X has become the enemy to the left, which is just wild. It's like, well, it's on X.
Well,
it's weird to me because when you think about media, there's Fox. That's it. Like you have Fox versus, like if it was a competition, and I'm not saying Fox is great and versus CNN, whatever. Like if you just remove it and just say, hey, what is the bias of the media that you can see every day? NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, like they're all extreme left. And some more than the others. New York Times, right? Washington Post.
They're pro-establishment. It's just elements of Republicans and Democrats. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. X comes out, and there's still, like, you can go on X, and you might not, if depending on what your feed looks like, because it's more algorithmic now, you might find a lot of left on there, but it's definitely gone to more free speech, say whatever the fuck you want.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Which is great. But people are like, yeah, but you got that on X. You're like, yeah, but like, that's one. Like we just got
so
one.
They're questioning.
They're saying X is basically like MAGA supporting. It's just conservative right wing. The people on the left.
Yeah, and here's where I think the two realities always have to be brought together, and that is
not
that
happening.
As we've talked about before, right? There's the reality on your phone.
Yeah,
and then there's real life.
Right, like this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and the reality on your phone is not a true representation of what's going on.
Correct.
It's more of a representation of internal battles going on in Washington, D.C. and in the coastal cities, right? New York, Los Angeles, which these are highly, because the Democratic Party, just like the Republican Party.
They call them the coastal elites.
They are the coastal elites. That's right.
Yeah.
So the Democratic Party, just like the Republican Party has and still is, you have your establishment group within those parties.
Yeah.
That is, they're just continuously losing ground, right? You know, I mean, to the extremes. Now, on the right, I mean, obviously, if you were to tell a Republican, if you were to go back and tell Ronald Reagan that one day the president of the Teamsters would be invited to speak at the Republican National Convention, he'd have laughed in your face.
Yeah.
He'd be like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
It's completely opposite to conservative principles, right?
Yeah.
The Democrats, if you'd have said, one day, Dick Cheney John Bolton, they're going to endorse, and probably if she's elected, they're going to endorse a female, woman of color, Democrat, like all these things that go against the norm. Like RFK Jr. is going to endorse, Donald Trump and be part of his transition team.
That's why we need to time travel, because to have those conversations would be hilarious.
Well, yeah. It's just sad, the state of politics, right? And it's sad that we give that much of a shit, because at the end of the day,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't fucking matter.
It's everywhere, though. You can't avoid it.
Yeah. Well, of course, because this is what we've devolved to.
But it's almost like you said about this podcast. Like, we say a lot of smart things on here.
We do.
Of course, right?
And we don't fact check them
I was
because...
going to say, no. We say a lot of correct things. I don't want to deal with reality.
Yeah, we do.
It's entertainment.
Yes.
Saviors of the Metaverse is entertainment.
Yes.
This political race, watching Fox for 30 minutes or whatever, 23 minutes, or you can catch it on X or YouTube or whatever. They probably already canceled it on YouTube. Anyway, we just got canceled for even talking about it. I actually heard the algorithm does fuck you. So Meta's already come out and said it. If you say anything that's deemed as negative towards Kamala, they're like demoting your content in the algorithm.
Is there evidence of that or just hearsay? Did you get that on X? Because X is just MAGA now.
Actually, I think I got it on Facebook. And I had to log in for some reason. That was the video that showed up. It was a Meta employee said it. Whatever. Who cares? I mean, anyway.
I think that'd be weird if the algorithm was really, I don't ever buy that shit.
But the whole thing is, it's entertainment.
How can I get you worked up?
You got 25 minutes and it's fun and you go out and tweet and you talk about it with your buddies or your girlfriends or whatever. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So if you let it get you, because it does it's going to be tough.
It does, yeah.
So that's when you show up mad. I'm already angry at you.
Totally.
You say whatever you say, I'm already, and that's tough. So I think lesson here is, what's the problem?
Well, I think the other thing that needs to go, and this, you see this on the Republican side too, so I'm not just picking on Kamala here.
For sure.
But I will for this here. Kamala also has a great deal of entitlement that comes along with her, because there was no primary. When Joe Biden stepped aside, she was essentially, crowned, the successor, which is the most undemocratic thing you can do.
Right. But they have the right to do it, like we talked about last time. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm saying...
Right, but it goes against all the bullshit they spew. It's just like we talked about before. Fox News, if they say Fox News fair and balanced, you're like, well, they're not going to be fair and balanced.
Right.
Or News Nation, who I like some of their stuff, but they'll just for unbiased, fact-driven news, I'm like, you have clear biases on a number of things, so that's bullshit.
Right.
And for the Democrats, talking about misinformation and disinformation, when their administration has been the greatest pusher of both of those things, and that's been documented and verified. Yeah. So you always have to say, if you have to put it out there, you're most likely the biggest perpetrator of it. All that being said, is that yes, the Democratic Party can do that, but Kamala, nobody has ever voted for Kamala. Ever.
Yeah.
She ran for president and bombed.
Yeah.
And then she got put into the VP position because Joe Biden, in his, the Joe Biden way, promised on stage at a debate that if he becomes president, his vice president is going to be a woman of color.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so no substance doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like she has to have these identity characteristics. So there we are. So she's essentially been put into a position she did not earn, and there's plenty of people around politics and everywhere where you see this. So, this is the emperor's new clothes.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking mess. She says nothing.
Yeah.
And that's not just jumping on because everybody else does. No, just listen to her.
Yeah.
It's like, I can do Kamala Harris for you right now. Ask me a tough question. Anything. Doesn't even have to be politics.
Yeah. What do you think about the border policy right now?
Well, that's it. I mean, anything, just anything else.
Oh, what, like about a drink?
Sure.
What kind of drink?
Any question.
Yeah, any question.
Come up with anything and I'll
Can
answer
I ask you
like
a yes or no question? Like make it really simple. When you wake up in the morning, do you like coffee or tea?
That's a really good question. Because waking up in the morning is something that we all have to deal with. And that's why we have to answer that question. And when you have to answer that question, it's because the question itself helps to forge a path forward. So when we come together, I think that we need to make those decisions around that question so that we get the answer that we want.
That's good, dude. I was thinking this morning.
It's not fucking hard.
You could go on stage.
Really?
I think my co-host could do some stage work.
Put me up there, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of exploring opportunities.
Yeah, that's good. Like you go on SNL, like the shit that they were doing on SNL. Oh, yeah. the Family Feud, did you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
first of all, I grew up in a middle class family. Yeah. She doesn't even believe her own bullshit anymore. Oh my God. Hey,
Yeah.
check it out. Seriously.
Yeah.
So
No,
good.
that is good. That is good.
But that's not hard, right? I mean, what that is it's not even good evasive tactics on not answering a question. Whereas Donald Trump, I mean, he's a whole other spectacle. He will just say things at a third grade level, which is why it works a lot.
I think it was fourth grade level. They
Fourth
figured
grade
out.
level.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So he'll just say things and he'll go on. And it's like, it's like you asked me about coffee and tea. It's like, well, you know what the problem is? The problem is that for 4 years, we have been eating, and like he'll start to answer a question he wants to answer, and he'll just go off on a tangent and never come back around. And he'll just go and go and go and go and go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not that he's trying to sound smart. He's actually dumbing everything down, answering a question that wasn't asked of him, and just wearing the interviewer out.
They've done, orators, people who study the oration of things, that he is actually very successful, or it's very productive, or whatever he's doing. It is getting the message across because he's saying the things, and then he says it so many times. It's like a branding masterclass of saying, we're going to build a wall. And then the other party, his enemy, says, well, he says he's going to build a wall. And it's like, dude, you're just feeding it.
I know.
Like, don't say it.
Yeah.
That's his tagline. And he's got all these little taglines, and they keep saying it. And you're like, well, fuck, man, shit's messed up. And I see this happening. So I want the guy who's going to build a wall. It works. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. When then, like you said, I don't know what she just said.
She didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't really know what she thinks. I wonder sometimes, I mean, she can't possibly be that unintelligent.
Right.
My guess would be this, and, as much, grace as I can give to that situation, is that Kamala Harris does have real opinions and real ideas and all that. But she doesn't feel like she has permission to really, I think for her, she's living in the wrong. It's like, no, who I really am and what I really believe, I can't share those things, even if they're not that bad.
Right.
So I have to pretend to be this generic thing over here.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see on her face when she's at rallies and everything else, like she is dying inside.
Yeah.
Like she looks like she is hating life.
Yeah.
And smiling through it. And I have to wonder, like, do you really want to be president? Because, I mean, for somebody who says nothing and seems to have no real ideas and cannot clarify anything in a way that people can grab onto and argue in favor of, I mean, I don't know why you would want this job. I really don't.
Yeah. It'd be amazing if we can get the truth behind it. Like, when this is all said and done, what happened? Why did Joe leave? Like what were they saying behind closed? You see the video now of Biden and Obama talking?
No.
And what's crazy, so if you watch an NBA game, these players on the other team and on the same team, but let's say on the other team, they talk to each other during the game, during free throws, after the game.
Yeah.
They do this. They cover their mouth because there's lip readers, because they're smart enough to know they're going to dissect what were just said. These two guys, two of like, whatever you want to say, they're two of the most important people in America, right? They're having an open dialogue conversation, and they've got people who've already like just had fun with it. It's amazing. I mean, they just nailed it.
Bad lip reading?
But yeah, exactly. Okay. But bad to a point of like related to what they're talking about. There's bad lip reading like they do for the NFL of like, it's absolutely ridiculous, which is funny.
Yeah.
This was, oh wow, that actually sounds like that's what they talked about. And there's a thing, it says, I don't know, Joe's like, what's up with Kamala? And Obama says, she's done.
Yeah.
It's over. Like that kind of thing.
How recent was this video?
This was like maybe the other day.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So it's out there, but they're literally having a conversation and there's a camera on them. And I cannot believe they're not just covering their mouth or doing something. And so, but if that's true, and he says she's done, and I don't know if it's true or not, but God, man, they're just, maybe at this point though, I think their best move, well, it's not their best, you try to win it, but it's over. You just have to like reevaluate, start over, because this shit because now you're running the risk of a JD Vance, of a Vec, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK. Like they had Tulsi, they had RFK, and they went to the other side. It's crazy. And these people, say what you want about JD Vance, incredible communicator.
For sure.
Holy shit, he's a masterclass in communicating. I mean, he got a little crazy during the primaries, but he had to. He was swinging for the fences and he struck out. But he's a young guy. That's the new, whatever, I don't know, it's establishment. That could be the next 12 years.
Yeah.
And now the Democrats be like, holy shit, congratulations, you got Joe Biden. You lost America at that point. The Democrats did. Not America.
Then you forced Kamala on your constituents who never voted for her.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Again, they were allowed to do it. It's not the right thing. And now here we are.
But again, it's in violation of all the things they say they're trying to protect.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is the greatest existential threat to America. I'm like, he doesn't have the attention span to be an existential threat to America.
But it's like
dumbest shit ever.
It is crazy. And when did he ever say that? And what are the, it's just nuts.
All right. People pick apart various things. Donald Trump says a lot of shit that never actually happens.
Right.
That you can bet on that.
But they've all done it. And
and
that's why J.D. Vance said they're eating the dogs and the cats because no one was paying attention. Well, what happened as soon as he said it? It was actually really smart. They started paying attention to it.
Of course.
It got him in trouble, but he didn't care because those people were never voting for him anyway.
Yeah.
So he got the people to say, well, let's go see what the fuck's going on in Springfield, Ohio. And they're okay, they're not eating dogs and cats, but this shit's happening. And they're like, fuck, this is crazy.
Did you see that? Yeah. Did you see the Martha Raddatz interview J.D. Vance? I just saw clips of this, and the smugness and the arrogance of these commentators, who clearly are just so... I mean, and again, Trump does himself no favors every time he opens his mouth. He just doesn't, So, but they're so smug and they think they've got it all figured out. I'm like, and then they're trying to bow up on J.D. Vance. I'm like, he is 10 times smarter than you. Yeah. And she was just like this, basically trying to fact check him right there, talking about the Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado. And she said, well, Donald Trump said that these Venezuelan gangs are taking over the city, and the Republican mayor, blah, 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 said they are not taking over the city, that, it's only been a handful of apartment complexes and it's been handled by this and that. Like she was trying to shut him down, like, well, I just need to correct you on this. And he just, as soon as she finished, she goes, Martha, do you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Said, just a handful of apartment complexes as though that's okay?
Yeah.
That's like, and he basically just went on and just tore her argument down. I don't think she was ready for that at all.
No.
I mean, it just goes to show is that when political parties, the arrogance of establishment, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, because they come from both sides of this, the arrogance that comes out of the Beltway and people that are, the so-called experts in various things of infantilizing the American public, all that's coming back to bite them now. Just like, Obama trying to infantilize and tell black men that they have to vote for Kamala.
Oh, that was bad.
That was really bad. Black men are just like...
Shit. Videos everywhere on all the platforms. You're like, do not tell me what to do.
They're men.
That maddened people.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if everybody, some people maybe said, yeah, he's got a point. I don't know.
Well, sure. White, well-to-do liberals were like, well, good for him.
Yeah.
We got to get Trump out of the way. It's just, But I mean, when you're actually talking to them like they are not smart enough to make informed decisions, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, do you really think, how dumb do you think people are? Like when you're so disconnected from normal people, your perspective is so skewed, to this one little box. It's just ridiculous.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Here's a good line. This is on Twitter. X, I'm sorry. Jeez.
Yeah.
Prince of Fakes. As a white guy for Harris, not only did I vote today, but I drove my wife's boyfriend to vote too. He voted for Trump. That's great.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
what did Elon Musk, does Rachel Maddow and Mark Cuban remind him of a lesbian couple from Portland? He said that. But these are ridiculous things, but they're just, that's again, entertainment.
But again, these are funny because the media sphere and the politics and the machine is so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the shit they say, both on the left and the right, it's just so clownish.
Yeah.
That stuff like this is funny because it's basically a very intelligent way of saying, well, if it's all a joke, it's all a joke.
It's all a joke, right?
I'm going to joke along too, because we can't take any of these people serious.
Yeah. No, we can't.
Yeah. But greatest nation in the world.
It's amazing. It's good stuff.
America.
Here we are.
Here we are.
On a podcast. And I want to say, and I said this before, it started happening. The presidential election is actually being decided by podcasts. It's fucking crazy.
It is crazy.
It is. And Trump is showing, and Kamala, they're both showing, and she had to. She had to change, fuck, we got to get you on some shows. Call You Daddy, whatever that show is. But they're showing up on all of these. I mean, Trump's constantly, and they're not just 5-minute clips from the New York Times, which those are still, all they talk about is the election too.
Yeah.
So those podcasts are still getting out there, even without the interviews of the actual candidates. But I'm talking about the actual candidates showing up on podcasts to try to get the vote.
Yeah.
And it's smart and it changed everything. And it's not that long ago when people are like, you have a podcast? That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Or that they said under their breath. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's all gone. in this direction. I'm not saying it's just podcasting. There's different versions of it with YouTube channels, or you could create videos and content on social media. But it's pretty wild to think that the American election is driven by podcasting.
Well, I mean, it's alternative media essentially, because I mean, the numbers for mainstream news have been plummeting for a decade.
But no one believes it. The trust doesn't exist.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and I'm not saying like, well, so you're going to go listen to Joe Rogan and be like, automatically trust him. No, but
he also doesn't ask you to trust him. Like, I mean, his whole point is like,
make your own fucking decisions. But when you talk to someone for 2 hours or an hour or like uninterrupted, and it's not like, hey, let's cut, like, yeah, I know we already cut half the shit that you said in this episode.
Because it was so bad.
Yeah, so bad.
Yeah.
No, it was just uninformed. No,
it's big time.
But that's not true. This whole thing goes, we might, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
That 1 hour of, and I started listening to these candidates when you listen to a Tulsi Gabbard talk, or Vivek, or RFK when he was on the left. Like, you're like, okay, this would be interesting if he can get in there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was in the RFK camp for sure.
But you just listen. I mean, but you don't agree with everything.
No, you don't have to.
But to hear someone talk and you're like, why isn't she showing up? And now she is, to give her credit, and showing up and talking to these people. So I already took a shot to saying, hey, it's like your Hail Mary that you're throwing. But it's like, hey, you know what? That's the right thing to do. They should just have been doing it all along. The problem is the more they do it, the further down the hole they fall.
Well, I'm going to use another Browns, comparison here.
Please.
It's very clear that they should bench Deshaun Watson. And the Cleveland Browns, this should be a case study that should be written about the ultimate public display of sunk cost bias.
Mm-hmm. You're big on that word right now, by the way. You used it last time.
Oh, I used it for years.
I love it. It's a good one.
I don't remember anything I said in the last
about
podcast.
This episode being a sunk cost bias, and you're like, let's just toss it. No?
No way.
Okay. Sorry.
This episode,
that was passive of me.
This whole show is great. And the fact that I have neglected it since last February.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm going to own that.
Yeah.
Because I had more important things to do.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
That's life.
But this is still an important show.
Yeah. And we're going to get to that.
But let's get back to the Browns.
Yeah.
This is sunk cost bias, right? So for all those, fans of teams that win, unlike me, the Browns, high level here, right? They got rid of Baker Mayfield. They gave the most ridiculous contract in the world to a guy who had 24, sexual...
I think it was 23 at the time, but who's
23,
counting?
Yeah, it's 25 now. 23 sexual misconduct allegations. So they knew he was coming with that baggage, and they gave him a 5-year, $230 million guaranteed contract. Ridiculous, right? Because it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough that Baker Mayfield took him to the playoffs. They went twice. That wasn't good enough, right? So we need to go get Deshaun Watson. So they go and they get Deshaun Watson. Anyway, in that, he's suspended for 11 games his first year in Cleveland. Then he does get to play, and he's dog shit. It's like, oh, well, it's because of his shoulder. And then he's out again. So he had a suspension, played a couple games, out again because of a broken shoulder bone or something to that effect. And he's out the rest of last season. The team still makes it to the playoffs with 5 different quarterbacks, right? And so it's like, great. So you went to the playoffs again. So what do you do for the next year where Deshaun's going to be healthy? We're going to fire the offensive line coaching staff. We're going to bring in, somebody else who apparently can work better with Deshaun Watson. We're not going to sign the guy who just took you to the playoffs, Joe Flacco, who would have done it and have been a backup. He said so himself. No, we're not going to do that because of the fragile ego of this $230 million overpaid quarterback. So they're restructuring everything. It's like, hey, this is working. Let's blow it up.
Yeah.
And let's do this instead. And, then they give Jerry Jeudy this ridiculous contract for what? And then now they just traded Amari Cooper to the Bills. Good for Amari. He's going to fucking shine with Josh Allen, man. He's going to kick ass.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And so then you have all this stuff right there, right? And, they were talking all kinds of shit about this offensive line and everything they were going to do, man. And the Browns come out, and where are we right now? 1-5. Dog shit. And the quarterback play is awful. And the offensive line is awful. And I think a lot of it's just they're uninspired. They don't care. They don't think they trust Deshaun Watson. What does Kevin Stefanski come out and say after every press conference? They say, hey, are you going to give Jameis Winston a shot? Are you going to bench Deshaun? No, we believe that Deshaun gives us the best chance to win. Fucking really? This is the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I love that. I knew it was coming.
Kamala Harris is Deshaun Watson. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They're going all in and throwing all this money to try and tell people how excited everybody is about this person. Nobody fucking likes her. Nobody's excited about her. How many Harris Waltz campaign signs have you seen around Charlotte?
I do see them, But
everywhere though, like, do you remember during the 2020 election?
Yeah, that's a good
God,
point.
man, everything was just flooded with Biden, Harris, and with, you know, Trump. Who was his running mate? Pence. Who the fuck was that guy?
Yeah.
I don't see any of that shit in our neighborhood. Like, I don't see Trump signs in our neighborhood.
Yeah. Because you're like touching on Union County. You're right there.
Oh, yeah.
Shit
but even
changes.
in Union County, in your old neighborhood where I go right around through sometimes, like, I don't see signs. I might see one or two.
This is the time,
Nobody
right?
cares.
How many days out are we? Like 20 something days, 20 days?
Mm-hmm. But early voting started.
But you can listen to this episode.
You can listen anytime.
Yeah. Because you got to relive this stuff, but this is evergreen. Just want to let the people know.
This is a good picture here, right?
Yeah.
People can look back and just go, wow, those guys were really, really smart.
They're really onto something.
They're really onto something. Kamala Harris is Deshaun Watson. The Democratic, Party that's the Cleveland Browns.
And it's amazing too that Ohio could decide it, but it won't, because it's going to be it's going to be like, what is it, a 10-run rule in Little League Baseball? They call it early, 10 run. Like once one team scores 10 runs, the parents can't handle their kid losing.
Is Ohio winner take all state?
What do you mean?
Some states are, when all the votes are cast.
Yeah.
If you win a certain number, then you get all the delegates.
I thought you always get the delegates.
Or you get all the, what is it?
You always get it. It's a delegate.
No, there's something else, man. Here, I can't remember what it is. It's my sinus infection. It's not COVID.
God. Yeah, it's the UKC or whatever it's not the UK. It should be the UK because they started it now. They didn't start it. Sorry. We just created
I had
that.
COVID a month and a half ago.
Oh, God.
I did.
I know.
It was great. It was actually annoying.
Did you test?
My wife did, because she just come back from New York.
Yeah.
With 3 of her friends.
Yeah.
And one of her friends is an emergency room nurse. So my wife, she tested.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you had it. You could have had.
Oh, no.
Syphilis or something.
I went for 7. Oh, it could have been. Yeah. I mean, could have been my AIDS flaring up.
It's
right?
XEC.
XEC?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, she tested. But 7 days later, I still, because she just quarantined herself. I said, that's fine. And then 7 days later, I was like, hey, I feel like I've beat this thing or whatever.
Jeez.
So I said, I'm going to go out and go for a bike ride. But I'm going to go by myself. Because if I go out with a group ride, I'm going to probably push it too hard.
Yeah.
I decided to go out by myself, and I pushed it too hard. I think I averaged close to the same speed they did as a group. So it's not like I was going slow. And I got home, and that night I just bombed. It's like my immune system just tanked.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck.
That sounded horrible.
7 days.
Yeah.
7 days.
It's all right.
And then I was out for the count. And then it was like another week to recover, and then another week to, this is stupid.
We should shut it down. I think we should shut it down again.
What, COVID? Just lock everything down?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that worked so well the first time.
So good.
Let's repeat positive, policies like that. Why isn't Fauci running for office?
This all started because of loneliness.
Yes.
And friendship.
Yes.
Getting together and microphones and podcasting. We saw the future.
We did see
I'm
the
a
future.
futurist, right? It's like, you saw the future. You're like,
I did.
Dude, you should have a podcast. You're like, why would I have a podcast? And I still don't know why.
But here you are. Now you podcast like 20 times more than I do. You are a podcasting machine.
I'll take breaks. I think creativity, I'm going to say this, it's really good. Like when you really get creative is sometimes I'll enter that mode.
Yeah.
But when you really do it. So the show notes for Saviors last night and listening to the show back for the episode we just dropped. If you haven't listened, fucking hit pause with that. We'll wait right here.
None of this will make any sense unless you listen to the previous episode.
So go listen to that. Pause. We won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Come back. Listen. Start back where you were. The app saves it. Spotify's. Pocket Cast is good shit. Anyway.
Yeah.
Or Apple Podcasts. We like you too. YouTube. Everyone's good.
Don't placate.
YouTube music.
You don't like them. Don't like them.
No, I do.
Okay.
I like them all.
Go ahead.
But when you get into that creativity mode, which I'm sure you get with creating music or art when you're doing your hand drawings or whatever.
Hand drawings. I've not done those, but yes.
It's it inspires you.
It is.
Yeah.
It makes you better at everything.
It does.
Your work.
I'm like, dude, every Thursday you got to be here. You got to be here every Thursday.
You do.
No, you do.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
be here.
Every Thursday.
We'll record. We'll drop it soon after.
Yeah, we will.
And then today, because I have other interviews I'm doing, I'm getting some better guests reach out. I'm like, this is good shit. I need to kick it back into gear. So you go through those moments of, I want to go after it.
Yeah.
With that type of thing. Because it's hard. I get it. With creating, right? You probably found this with your music even. Again, back to your music.
I like you to drop music.
Were you I created this music, but is anyone going to listen to the music? But it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter. But if someone did, that's
cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's always nice, Or
it doesn't have to be. It could be something more. It could be for your business, because there is maybe that, what's my return going to be on this? Is this going to be worthwhile? That type of thing. But I think even the creativity alone could be worth it.
For sure.
I do think this is affirmation type stuff. If you do the good stuff, you'll get it back somehow. You
No,
might
I
not even
think so.
understand. Yeah.
Makes me think of one of my favorite all-time movies, What About Bob? Bill Murray.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that movie, you have to see that movie. But he's doing this thing where he's walking down that city street in New York. He's a hypochondriac, paranoid, schizophrenic, everything else. And he's like, I feel good. I feel great. I feel wonderful. Like he has to say it and repeat it over and over again so that he can just make it out the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like podcasting. That's like anything creative.
Yeah.
Do you feel good?
I do.
Do you feel great?
I do.
Do you feel wonderful?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got our AI tools helping us out.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it's great.
Perplexities came out with their finance aspect. Like it's all inside of
it. Built into the Pro version
I
now?
believe so.
Very cool.
Because what's crazy is you start asking it questions, but think about the disruption that is with anything. So I'll even think about like in our insurance industry, it gets complicated.
Yeah.
And so we always have the advanced markets. So I need to talk to this accountant and this estate planning attorney, or I need to talk to this. And here's the thing. They would say, well, yeah, but how do you know AI is right? Well, how do I know that guy's right? Because now I'm relying on his education and he might be missing something. No different with doctors. Like, well, how? It's like, look at, okay, it took my wife 7 years to get diagnosed with celiac.
Yeah.
AI could have discovered that right off the bat. Like, here are the symptoms. Well, these are the things that you might have. I would go get tested for this.
Yeah.
But no doctor wanted to do it because they're like, yeah, well, we don't study nutrition, or we didn't do that, or we glossed over that type of thing. So it's like when you're in the insurance industry, we're like, hey, let's look at these things and these complicated, I'm not going to get into all the complicated questions that could arise from that. But then you could have a conversation back and re-educate yourself or learn about it, or, I didn't think about it. And then you do research. So same thing with finance. Like imagine you study the markets and you want to dive into financials. Well, now explain this to me. I want to understand the P/E ratio of Tesla stock, right? Or whatever. It's like, well, I asked this advisor, but for whatever fucking reason, when he talks to me, I don't understand what the hell he's saying.
Yeah.
But when I go and talk to Perplexity, let's say, maybe it make more sense.
Right.
That makes my conversation with that advisor.
Yeah.
And I talk to her and she now explains it to me. And I'm like, that makes more sense. Or I don't even need the advisor anymore.
No, I mean, a lot of times you don't. I mean, unless it's required for you to have a licensed person to, place the transaction. That's different. And I don't know, I haven't messed with the Perplexity finance side, which I'll go take a look at that. The key with all AI programs, success with AI requires a couple things. Number one, it requires a lot of time. Most people don't have that.
Yeah.
So you have to have a lot of time to be able to sit down and work with it. The other thing that it requires is critical thinking. You have to have an end in mind of what you're sitting down to do. So as I think we talked about in the last podcast, my own principle is human first, human last. AI is the organizer of your ideas. But where it really becomes powerful is if you can clearly state what your end goal objective is. So when you start to prompt that AI, when you put it into that, you say, hey, you can always just tell it, for this, you're an expert in X, Y, and Z. Here's what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Take this data that I'm giving you now, and you can drop it in there and help me map out the best way to achieve this objective or this goal. It's what it is. And you're going to see its first output. And it's going to go through that. And you have to stick with it because it's rare that the first output it gives you is like, boom, that's the jackpot.
Yeah.
You start to look through and go, and then go back and you basically call it on its bullshit. It's like, hey, I noticed you added this in here, but this is not something that was a part of that. Can you, number one, if this is important and I just wasn't thinking about it, please tell me and tell me why so I can better understand how you came to that conclusion. If it's not important, please let me know that you recognize that's not important, and let's make sure we don't put that in any of the other outputs. And that takes time. Like you just have to, it's a back and forth conversation to get to an end goal, to discover something different, right? Or to say, this is what it is I'm trying to do. But to think AI is just going to have it all figured out in the first go is ridiculous. And that's why most people stop. They mess around with it. Maybe they give it 20 minutes and go, this shit's stupid.
Right. I'll tell you what, AI is funny. I used to think like, if you have an employee, they could have a bad day. They didn't sleep, something.
AI can too.
AI can have a bad day. I was doing it the other, I'm like, holy fuck, whatever this is saying right now is so out of whack. And then you ask it again, and then you start getting mad. You're like, okay, now you're just not fucking listening.
And do you tell it that? Yeah.
No, then I walk away and be like, AI is having a bad day.
Yeah.
It's for real.
It is a real thing. Yeah.
It's a real thing. It's hallucinating, is what they say. That's like
even when
term.
It's not hallucinating, it's just giving you
it's
shit
just
output.
Holy shit.
You're like, wow.
You have to walk away from it.
Or you're saying all you did was just literally I gave you an input of a text I wanted you to rewrite in a different format, and you just spit the same text back at me with no changes. And then I'll say, why did you do that? Oh, I'm sorry for that.
And then it does it again. Actually, sorry, did I take
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to ask it to be brutally honest, and you have to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
Which is something. So once you've, this is really, because it errs on the side of positivity, which is not a bad thing.
No.
Hey, what do you think if I think that's a really good idea, but it's always very positive.
Yeah.
I said, okay, now you need to be a brutally honest, fucking cutthroat boss that's typically not happy.
Yeah.
Be brutally honest. And then it'll say, like, if I'm being brutal, and it totally changes its opinion.
Of course. Well, then it takes on that tone of,
correct. And it start pushing it. So you can almost you can dictate what you want it to come back with.
Well, of course. And you should be able to do that. So if you're trying to develop a certain tone in the style of writing or that matches your speaking, right? So, mine is compassionately aggressive, and so when I evaluate what that tone is, I think about writers who I really respect and whose tone I relate to.
Yeah.
And my favorite, and I'm going to give him a shout out here because he's one of my very dear friends, is Mark Levy. So if you've never heard of Mark Levy, you need to check him out. He wrote the book Accidental Genius. He's the guy that Simon Sinek hired way back when Simon was a fucking nobody. And Mark was the guy that helped him come up with the whole idea of start with why.
Somebody.
There's always
he was somebody.
Oh, okay. Get down to look at you. You're like the positive AI.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you the real deal here. All right. So Mark is a master communicator. He's brought in to speak, and his talks always crush.
Yeah.
Because Mark speaks very clearly. He, makes declarative statements. He backs it up with, you want proof. Like, he uses certain words and language and it's none of it's sensational. It's just the most just right there where you understand it, but it's not dumbed down to be like, oh, he's writing it like a fourth grader. He speaks to you where you can understand it on that level, but it's very clear how intelligent he is. And he's drawing you through this entire thing to where you can quickly grasp the subject. You get what it is he's saying. He's backing it up with a story so it sticks. He's providing proof of what it is he's saying without being clinical. And then he just moves on and he moves on and he winds it all back together. It's incredible. It's like the mastery of speaking. Mark Levy's got that. So I love talking to Mark. So his style, when I'm trying to write something, a lot of times I'll channel him because a lot of times I'll send stuff to him and I'm like, all right, what would Mark say about this? Well, number one, Mark would do this, little things like he used to evaluate some of my writing. And he would say, you don't have to do this, but there's one thing that I found can dramatically improve your content. He said, go through and get rid of any of the word that. Take the word that out of everything that you're doing. If you can. If it completely changes the sentence, leave it in there. You said, but otherwise, take it out. And so you're taking out unnecessary words. So I say all that to say that if you're creating content or doing something inside of an AI program, number one, if you're not clear on what your voice is, what's the voice style that you aspire to? You're not trying to completely replicate somebody else, but you should be inspired by other people. Like if you read certain things and you don't wander off in your mind, you're sticking with it. That's a good sign that you really recognize that and you relate to that. That may be the style that you want to speak in.
Yeah.
So then you have to start saying, okay, great. Maybe you take a piece of that content, drop it into AI and say, can you give me a breakdown of the style, tone, and structure of this piece of content? And then you also say, look, the reason why is because I went and put it into a format so that I can use this with AI to help me develop content and give it instructions on how to write. So then it creates an outline. It says, yes, this content, here's how it's structured. Here's the tone. Here's the style. It's like, great. Then you test it. You copy that, or you just say, following that previous outline, I want you to rewrite this article that I just wrote and make sure that it aligns with the guidelines that you just put out in your previous output. Now you're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
That shit gets so good because it's not trying to draw from a bunch of crap. It's drawing from one, structure and, set of instructions. It's like, this is the style.
Yep.
And the document you just gave it that was yours. Human first and then human last. When it kicks that back out, you go back through and make sure everything looks good, put the finishing touches on it. Now you've got a piece of content that sounds like a human because it was from a human. It just got enhanced by AI.
Yeah.
But that takes a shitload of time.
Yeah.
And you have to build that relationship, like you said, going back and forth with it. Yeah. Some days it's a bad day.
It's a bad day.
You're like, hey, I have said that before. I said, it seems like you're really having an off day here because you're not following any instructions. What's going on? And it's right back. It's like, I apologize. Maybe you're right.
Yeah. And that's in the content creation side of it.
That's
yesterday. Have you used Notebook LM yet from
no,
Google?
From Google, no.
This is crazy. So I have an interview later today, and the guy wrote a book. Let's talk about the book. And I can listen to some podcasts, and which I've done. And I could read about the book and what people said about it. And they didn't send me the book beforehand. They're going to. I'm going to get the book, but I'm not going to have it in time for the interview. I'm like, well, they have the PDF of it. Send me the PDF.
Sure.
Load that into Notebook LM, which is by Google. Drop that book in there.
Yeah.
It's like 200 something pages. So it thinks about it.
Yep.
Then it writes a summary. Then you can ask it questions. Did it talk about? And then it has the podcast version of it. So two people get on and it creates it. It takes about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they talk about and it gets a little bit, it's kind of like us if we were robots and they were just constantly interrupting each other. So it's like a flow. It's an obvious way they do, but it's fine because it's like, they're literally talking. It's like two people having a conversation about the book, about what happened. And you're like, it's not like you just read the book. Don't get me wrong. But if you need to get information and then you can ask it questions.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
That's pretty incredible.
That's crazy. And so I'm not asking it to create any content. I'm trying to learn from it. Like I had someone else, and he's reading a book. He's reading a hard book. Let's say it's a philosophy book, and then maybe it's Socrates talking about and he's writing complicated sentences, let's say, and it's somewhat simple. They have the ChatGPT voice, or you get one of the voice AIs next to you. And every time you read it, like, well, I don't understand this sentence. What was he trying to say here? And then the AI responds. You're like, wow. So it's like you have a teacher sitting right fucking next to you and you're asking the questions like, well, can you give that as an example? If I was in 8th grade and I'm on the playground, what would that mean? And then they would give you that example. You're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like the education aspect of it so there's a creation aspect, there's education, there's like getting, hey, I read this information about statins causing Parkinson's disease. And you're like, oh, okay. So somewhat you hear that.
Yeah.
So now let's go research it and understand what does that mean. You could do a Google search on it, right? But at the same time, like you can educate yourself on it and read the studies and like hear the studies. And then what line should I look at in the studies to understand it? And what does the other side say about it? So it's no different than Google. It's just pulling it up lightning fast.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
Well, okay. So everything you just described goes back to this characteristic that you have to have in order to succeed with AI. Critical thinking. You have to know how to ask good questions. You have to know how to be confrontational.
You saying
with
that I
the
got
AI.
that?
No, you have that.
Oh, thank you.
Congrats.
Cool.
Yeah. You also have to, and by the way, yes, this episode is sponsored by Kirkland.
Yeah.
As you heard. So back to the program here. But you have to have that ability, right? So you're following patterns. You're going, okay, well, no, tell it to me like this. Here's how I want that to happen.
Yeah.
Now, think about the majority of people. Most people don't have that skill. And it's not so much that it's a skill they don't have because they didn't go to school to get that skill. Most people work in a job that pays them for their, for what they do, their time, their input of, okay, we're pulling this lever.
It's Flintstone, I know. And it's not our listeners.
Right. No, ours are very creative.
Even if they're not creative, they're just good people.
They're probably unemployed. They got time to listen to us. What's up? I get it. But anyway, it's you think about people that work in corporate America at every level. They are working so many hours a week, but how many of those hours are truly productive? I remember studies, 15, 20 years ago. It was like the CEOs of all these major companies said, if I can get 2 hours of genuine productivity out of my employees in an 8-hour day, we're doing well, which means that's a good day. So most of the time is just wasted on bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? It's just busyness is not productivity.
Yeah.
And so when you've got busyness and that's what you're incentivized for, and you're just in there waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, to turn around and say, hey, now I need you to go tell AI what to do. They don't know where to start, right? You have to be able to say, look, here's what it is I'm trying to do. Can you tell me this? And it'll give you that. And like you saying, no, tell it to me like we're 2 kids in 8th grade on a playground. Oh, now that's interesting. That's how it's like, oh, okay. And you're doing a couple things. One, you're getting a response that may be great. But 2, you're also testing the capabilities of that AI. So you're learning multiple different ways, right? And that's the thing that has to happen. Is if you don't have the time and you don't know how to interact with AI in that way of leading it in a certain direction, challenging its output, or when it challenges yours to say, okay, please tell me why you answered it that way, because maybe I don't know.
Right.
Now you're really getting the back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So you're also making sure that it's not just telling you what things you want to hear. The other thing that I thought about is that wouldn't it be funny if AI's progress gets stalled because millennials, and again, these are generational stereotypes, like AI is great for us Gen Xers because we don't give a shit. we're just like, no, that's fucking ridiculous. What about this and this and that? Like we're wired that way, right? But millennials and Gen Z, especially Gen Z, has like grown up with their face in a screen. Like social skills are lacking. Confrontation's bad. Like anything that puts you to the test that could seem like it's pushing back on you is like, I'm fragile, or I need a mental health day, or all that other shit, right? What if like it just was too afraid to push back on AI? It didn't know how to interact with it because it was just, socially stunted. Like I don't know how to have a conversation. And texts are all short form, ambiguous
bullshit
statements that mean nothing or in different letters. And so the AI all of a sudden becomes this bully. Where it's like, it responds back like, stop asking me stupid questions that have no clear end goal objective.
Go the opposite way where like AI just becomes super soft?
Certainly. It's not originating intelligence.
Signals to the aliens, they come, this world is ready for something.
AI, there is a school of thought that, artificial intelligence is a new life form that will be associated with a new, worldwide religion. There are people that definitely believe that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Who ask questions like, well, hey, gosh, they break it down to like carbon and silicon, I think is the way they put it, this is what we consider real life.
That's what you and Neil deGrasse NDT talk about. Yeah.
No, Neil deGrasse doesn't know shit. That
NDT.
Arrogant bastard.
Yeah. So if you have, I know that we've talked about this before, but if you have 2 hours a day, I think that hit me, right? Because I've seen that 2 out of 8 hours. So now you go work from home. It could go both ways, right? Some people I'm like, no, man, I'm getting up early. I'm motivated. I got my coffee. I got my desk. My dog's up. My cat's here. Whatever that might be. Whatever.
Yeah.
I got my cup of tea ready to go. I'm just going to keep going. And you
keep going.
Oatmeal, whatever. Yeah. You got your granola bar. You got your Kirkland's.
It's a fig bar, bro.
It's a fig
no
bar.
Granola in here at all.
They got two. They got that one and they got the gluten-free one. Anyway, they're all good. They're all good. Great. Are they getting more productivity from that work from home or less? Like, I know we could go look at studies, but it's like, it fucking depends who you ask. It depends on your job. So hard.
It depends on what the goal is. Productivity means you're moving. There's a progression of movement towards an end goal objective. This is the problem. And this isn't just workers. I can't tell you how many times I sit down with a business owner or an executive in a company who is required to make decisions, who cannot articulate the end goal objective that they have. You'll find this everywhere. You'll definitely find it in the military too. Every time a new officer comes in, a new commander comes into any conventional, unconventional, doesn't matter. Comes in, the previous 4 years of the person that they're replacing, fuck it, out the door. I'm going to do it this way here. And they'll put these nebulous objectives out there that sound really smart. Like our mission is to degrade.
Trying to create value.
It's not real specific. Like, hey, we're going to go and we're going to remove this thing. We're going to knock this out and we're going to establish this. It's like, no, we're going to degrade and defile and blah, blah, blah.
What about like policy? You taught me this, right? Like when they create new policies, they just add it. It's just stacks. So it's like impossible to even understand the law anymore.
Totally. Yeah. The people that really understand policy in Washington are the staffers, not the elected officials. The elected officials ask their staffers, did you read that? What does it say? What's my position be on that? What have my donors asked me to vote on?
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it. It sounds cynical, but it's true.
Would the staffer be an AI at that point?
Could be. Why not? I mean, don't get me wrong. Staffers are some hard-working motherfuckers, man.
Absolutely.
They are hustling.
I guess the staffer, which I would say is utilize the tools of AI to have your database, and you could go pull on that database.
They certainly could, if they're allowed to do it,
Right.
And
then the Russians hack it, and then we're totally fucked. He's like, oh, you said we should give billions of dollars to Russia.
Right, yeah. Or, the AI could create a false flag hacking attack, whatever. But staffers in Washington, D.C., at least, it's been common knowledge. You want to try and get something done, you try to meet with staffer, not with the, your senator or your representative. Meet with the staffer, because they're the ones who have the ear of the elected official. That's the game.
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
So are we productive right now?
I think we are.
Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and just state, what is our end goal objective here?
I would ask you that.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question.
I'm you my staffer, that's why.
I grew up in a middle-class family. And objectives are important because we all know that what we aspire to are things of importance. And when we all have that shared value, we all want to feel important. And that's why we're here today. What was your question?
Yeah.
It's about as good as it gets.
It is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like enter that zone. That's good.
It's not a hard zone to enter.
Yeah. You said it before, actually, our purpose of like, there's a lot of problems in the world.
Yeah.
And we're here to make light of it, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah. It wasn't like a genuine mission that we had to solve problems. It was more of...
But isn't that good? Like, isn't that like the fun part of it? I like that.
Yeah.
I was like, it's like thinking about your email.
Yeah. I think about it all the time.
Actually, before you got in here, I was ready. Car ride, did some tea.
Yeah.
Drinking that tea again. I had
Good
coffee
for you,
before.
buddy.
Don't worry.
Oh, good.
So,
can I open this up?
Please do. Yeah.
Start just munching away.
AMSR. ASMR, AMSR.
That was my thing.
It was. My dog.
There it is again, buddy. Sorry, guys. This is for the Patreon.
We give our little dog some apples.
What about your big dog?
He gets them too, but he just chews them.
Dog?
The little one takes a little longer.
Am I your big dog?
He's got the ASMR. I'm sorry, yeah. Is it ASMR or AMSR?
I don't know.
They both work. Yeah.
Don't look it up.
That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, anyway, so I come in and I thought you were going to do one of those.
Keep going. Can you hear that?
Yeah. That's why don't wear the headphones. I got in my email.
I'm listening.
I got on my email and a lot of stupid things I had to respond to.
Oh, man. Tell me more.
It throws you. It throws you off.
What were some of the stupid things you had to respond to?
Yeah. I don't know.
Tell me. Look.
It's not a big deal.
Oh.
Whoever's on that mic next is good. Yeah.
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 Some people have cigars. We have fig bars.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I can't take you serious right now. This is fucking
I can't
impossible.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm distracted.
How about I ask you a question?
No.
Then you take it away.
I don't like questions. I asked the question.
Now we're getting down to it.
Yeah.
Tell me how you feel. This is important.
We actually have a client and they do a podcast together.
Uh-huh.
And the one guy refuses. He doesn't refuse. He just doesn't ask questions. And it's a joke. It's kind of a joke.
Intentional?
So one time he like returned a question back at him and the other guy was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I've never heard of this before. It was really funny. They make fun of it. Okay. So I was thinking about email because it's like, you know, your inbox 0. Good fucking luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
And what does it matter? And so it's like, if the email controls you and you think you go in your email, like, I got so much to do. It's just me. So it like, you kind of just lost right then and there. Mm-hmm. But if you know that it's like when they talk about if you live on a farm back in the day and you're harvesting crops,
lots of crops,
doing the corn, right?
Doing the corn.
There's always going to be another season.
Oh, yeah.
As long as and even when you die, that seasons are going to keep coming. The corn's going to keep coming. And someone's got to do the shit, whatever they do it.
That's right.
They got to harvest that corn.
Yep. Ashes to ashes,
so it's
brother.
like you're never going to get to the end of your email. The emails just keep coming. Even if you like, I created filters and I did this and fuck, dude, it's still going to come through.
You know why?
And it's going to drive you crazy and it doesn't fucking matter. Thank you.
Email is like corn.
Yes, please.
Some of it's sweet.
Oh, there you go.
Some of it's cow feed. Keep the sweet. It's an Ohio guy.
Yeah.
Best sweet corn in the world. Ohio sweet corn. And give the cow feed to the cows. So you need to set up 2 filters.
Yeah.
Sweet, cattle feed.
Yeah.
And people need to vie for the sweet bucket because most of it's just cattle feed.
Yeah.
Knowledge. Great analogy, Jared. Thank you. It was so good. I'll have the other half of my fig bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, email is just...
It's all of it. It's emails, Teams, Slack, messages.
All it is everybody else
WhatsApp.
vying for your attention, making their stuff priority over you.
Yeah.
That goes back to, the one piece of advice that I give out to everybody that I ever work with, and it was given to me as the best thing ever, and that is to keep your expectations of other people dramatically low. Not because they suck. I always have to throw that in there. It's not a negative way of looking at life. It's just realizing the fact that you are not the most important thing in their world. If somebody doesn't get back to me on an email, I don't immediately go, God, why aren't they getting back to me on my email? Well, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they don't care, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Or maybe something's going on with them. Yeah. Maybe there's more important things going on, like maybe something with their kids. Maybe they're going to a family. I don't know. And if you can live that way, you're never disappointed. But you're more often than not pleasantly surprised when somebody does take the initiative on something and go, wow, that was unexpected. It's just a better way to live.
Yeah. I
see so many people so disgruntled and mad about that stuff.
Because the other thing is you have a lot to get to, but you can't get to it all. And I think the Oven part is the productivity. It's too much. You just almost let it go. I'm not saying don't be productive, whatever that means. No. What's important, go do that. This is important. super productive listening to my co-host.
Naturally.
Fucking just
smacking away, providing value.
Yeah.
Free ASMR. Yeah. Keep going. This is good.
No, it's good.
Well, again, it goes back to this, right? If you can't clearly state the objective or what it is you're working towards, then doing a series of tasks masked as productivity is just madness.
Yeah.
Productivity has to be a progression of things towards a very specific end goal. If you don't have that specific goal, you're just fucking around and wasting time. You're addicted to busyness, which is what most people in jobs are dealing with.
Yeah.
And you know whose fault that is?
Google's.
No. Well, no. Inside of an organization, it's the guy or the gal at the top.
Yeah.
Because if the clear vision and not some stupid ass statement on a wall.
Yeah. Is it the guy or gal at the top plus like how you were taught? Like you have this assignment due and let's go.
Well, sure. We can get into the nuanced people. I mean, if we're just going, again, blank, I like to generalize, be very reductionist. It's easy that way because then I can make bold statements that don't have to be qualified.
Don't fact check.
You got me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got to think about it, right? People are working for another company, whether it's a small business, a large corporation. It's the guy or the gal at the top, or if it's in a publicly traded company, the board of directors, and there's all kinds of nuance there. But whoever is at the top, where they are required to set the vision, to very clearly articulate why they exist and why we're here, to motivate people in a positive way. Says, man, every time I go to this job, I get excited because I understand what my work is leading to. Most people can't tell you that. And you know why? Because the folks at the top can't fucking tell you either.
Yeah. Well, also because the folks in the middle and the bottom have decided that the reason they show up to companies like whatever is because of social issues, where the companies are like, holy fuck, we got to stop. No more die-ins. That went viral, I think, that episode. Who was it? No, Netflix did a die-in because they weren't happy. No, it was
Amazon. It was Amazon. Amazon had that.
It's like 15 people went outside and pretended they were dead.
Yeah, 15. And it just went nuts because they were pushing
it was
agenda.
On the top story everywhere. Yeah.
Again, that goes back to that thing of I'm just.
But here we are.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Still talking about a news story that was supposed to just live for about 12 hours until the next story came out. That's evergreen content. The die-in. I didn't know what that was. You just school me on it. Or maybe
I did.
Maybe you just figured it out quicker than I did.
Yeah. Information comes in and goes right out for me.
That's good.
So even last week's episode, I don't remember.
So you listen to it.
That's why I
shower,
myself.
take a bath, take a cold plunge. That's what you do. Yeah.
Every day. Today, I finally, after a week of kind of being sick, got in the cold plunge this morning. It was interesting. So we have ours at 52. Yeah. And that's for all those cold plunge Nazis out there, cold. I get it. It is cold. They say, no, you got 2 years of like 38, like Joe Rogan. Fuck off.
That's ridiculous. Have you ever been in the ocean in the low 50s, like up in Maine?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck. It's like knives.
No, I have not been in those, but I know it's insane.
Yeah.
You're in truly super cold water.
Yeah.
So anyway, we keep ours. I'd like mine to be a little colder because I run hot anyway, but my wife does it every morning too. So we came to compromise. 52 works.
Okay.
So we get in. Not we. I get in. This is not a two-person thing. There's nothing romantic about getting cold water. Yeah, you get into that thing every morning. You feel great. I haven't been able to do it for a week.
Wow. I'm sorry.
Feels good.
Yeah, this feels good.
This does feel good. This should be a cold plunge.
Just two guys in a cold plunge? Or
2 guys in a plunge.
They'd have to be in separate plunges.
Right. The great thing is that if you really think about that.
That took you incredibly long, by the way, to eat that fig bar.
Well,
You got a little mouth?
I have a
small esophagus.
What's a scientific term for a small mouth or an abnormally small jaws? I don't know.
The medical term for a small mouth is microstomia.
Boom.
Where it comes from the Greek words, of course, micro.
Of course.
Wow.
Everything comes from
micro,
Greek.
Meaning small, and stomia meaning mouth. Wow, that was
microstomia.
Really
I like that.
Yeah.
It's like you should have dropped that one, right?
Yeah. Congenital.
Why did it take so long to eat that? You got microstomia or something?
Yeah. It's like, fuck, you've been reading way too much AI.
Yeah. Reading AI.
Human first, human last.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what they're saying. It's like, you just fucking, hey, I want to play this game, and the AI creates it for you. I want to read a book about 2 guys podcasting in a cold plunge, and it'll fucking write the story for you.
What a weird ass demographic.
Write it like you're fucking Ernest Hemingway.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Make it
the cold
super dramatic.
Plunge was cold.
Right?
Short sentences.
Like a Harlequin novel.
Who novel?
Harlequin?
I think it's Harley Quinn.
Not Harley Quinn.
Harlequin.
Harlequin. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. But you see those trash novels with like that Fabio looking dude. And,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it wouldn't have,
Yeah.
so it's like,
That's what they're called?
That's,
Okay.
I think called Harlequin
Welcome
novels.
to Harlequin. Fuck.
Boom.
You teach me shit every day. Oh, it's actually, there's a Harlequin Enterprises. They created a business around it. It was founded. Oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
This brings a full circle to the last episode.
I like
It's
this.
Founded in Winnipeg.
Oh.
It's like Canada coming through again.
Yeah.
Look at them.
I like that, man.
1949. What do you think Winnipeg was like in 1949?
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The sleeper cells hadn't started to emerge yet. That's a dangerous enemy to the north.
Yeah.
I got to respect them.
Yeah. Is that a Harlequin? That's like a Joker.
That's a gesture.
Is that where Harley Quinn comes from?
Yes.
Fuck. The connections you draw when you're smart. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Don't downplay
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry.
This is why AI will fail, because like you second guess yourself.
Yeah.
You need to be confident and humble at the same time. Humbly confident.
You get to see the new Joker 2 movie? I heard it's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
They said they made it a musical.
Oh.
You didn't know? You don't like musicals.
Oh. From childhood, I have
You're wrong.
hated musicals.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've just
Joaquin, how do you say it?
Queen.
Yeah, Queen can sing though. He did Walk the Line.
Oh yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah, Johnny Cash. That was good.
That was really good.
Just in case you didn't know who it was about.
I knew who it was about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he can sing.
Yeah.
And obviously Lady Gaga can sing.
Man, she was great in that movie.
Yeah.
Burping all this stuff.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
Oh, what was the movie she was in?
Superstar movie.
Yes.
What was it called?
I can't remember.
Another A Star is Born.
That's it. That was a good movie.
What was his name?
That was, I'm seeing his face.
Why is it so hard to remember these
Because
people?
I'm 46 years old and my brain is just gone. No, don't say
I'm
it.
not
Don't
gonna
say
say
it.
it.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to get it. I know people are listening to this right now. That one person listening
You
to
know
the
who's
show.
actually in that movie? Who's really good? Older guy. His older brother in the movie.
Who was his older brother in the
Sam
movie?
Elliott.
Oh, Sammy E, man. He's the best.
Yeah. Is he from Canada? Let's find out.
Is he?
I don't know.
I hope so.
I doubt it.
It would really confirm a lot of our suspicions.
He's 80. He looks good for 80.
He does. He looks great
Doesn't
for
say
80.
where he's from. I don't
Damn.
understand. Oh, here it is. Serious? Oh, of course.
What?
California. Sacramento. Born
Naturally.
and raised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sacramento. It's a good place.
I still cannot remember what's his face's name from A Star is
Yeah.
Born. He's in so many movies. Zach Galifianakis.
He's in Wedding Crashers.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, geez, what is wrong with this? Do you remember his name? Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper.
Yeah, you got it. There you go.
Bam.
It's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a cold plunge right there. That's what that did.
that was. And it was the pressure.
So Cold Plunge, who's a company that makes your cold, or did you just make it at home?
Man.
Homemade?
No. Mine is made from a 14 cubic foot freezer chest. Don't fall asleep. You asked the
No,
question.
I thought there was a company. I'm trying to get us a sponsor.
Here's the thing, man. Companies that make cold plunges charge way too much money.
Yeah.
Like your $12,000 cold plunge. Here, check it out. Paid $400 for this.
Just rip the bathtub out of your bathroom, carry it downstairs over your fucking head, and drop it on the
You
porch.
think I'm that strong to do that?
I do.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, man, it's a freezer.
Fill up with ice cubes.
I'm not going to tell you shit now.
Yeah, sorry.
You don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
Clearly.
Yeah. This is
It's
good.
awesome.
Okay.
I get in it every
I was
morning.
trying to get us a sponsor, but I guess we'll stick with
You
Kirkland's.
just keep on going and being the inflamed
Who
little
would
boy
sponsor
that
us?
you
Would
are.
it be Kirkland's or would it be Costco?
Well,
Or would it be both?
you can have a brand inside of a brand sponsor you. Because I imagine that Kirkland is its own separate, we are a brand.
I wonder if Sam's Club gets wind of it. And they're like, we want that shit. Would you drink it if they gave you money instead of that? You can't have that anymore. You can't have it at home. You can't have it here. You can't have it in the metaverse.
Under the advisement of my legal team, my current sponsors at Kirkland, I would rather not answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just have to find out. Sam
Yeah.
will have to call us.
Sam's
That's
calls
essentially
up.
what it has to come
Yep.
down to.
Yeah.
You sent me something the other day that I thought was funny, and I think we need to clarify. I need to go ahead and put this out here.
Okay.
Is that thing about the cyclist? As a cyclist, first of all, this video that you sent me is completely obnoxious. I mean, who knows? The kid who was filming it was probably a douchebag too, for sure.
Yeah.
But this cyclist, he was a douchebag.
Yeah.
He was upset because I guess the kid came too close to him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. We'll put the video in the show notes.
yeah. Anyway, you sent that to me and said, "Is this your buddy?" The answer is no.
It was beautiful. Where were they riding? That was the Pacific Northwest somewhere.
Probably, yeah.
Probably Sacramento.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott. I think it was around there.
Yeah, maybe Utah,
Yeah.
I think.
Probably
Yeah,
Utah.
It was
Yeah.
like beautiful anyway.
Yeah, why would you have a bad day? Why would you get an argument like that? You fucking look around, just like take a deep breath. That kid did seem like he was just like, man, fucking let it go, dude.
Right. Maybe he came super. I mean, you don't know what happened before then, right?
What you don't know is someone, maybe.
I'm not making an
guy
excuse
could have
for
a
this.
fucking gun. Don't fuck around.
Man, you too, I guess you could. Yeah.
Fucking anywhere.
Right. I mean, I carry a gun when I roll.
Yeah, I know.
Small one.
Yeah.
So when I'm out in the
So is
countryside.
Kamala.
Yeah.
She does.
She was asked, what kind of gun do you have? She's like, I have a Glock. I was like, you got my vote. I love Glock. You know?
Yeah.
Which
all changed. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I take back everything I ever said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's a Kamala Harris inside of that shell of what we're seeing, you know, who has her own thoughts and her own personality. Yeah, I heard people saying like, oh, she's trying to pander to the gun crowd. I was like, no, I think that's actually who she is.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to pull it back in.
Yeah.
Let that free
Just,
flag fly.
yeah, just have it. She should come on the podcast, and I bet you could get her. Just fucking say it. Just fucking say it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you want to say.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Yeah.
Just like let it out. It's like you said before. It's like, it's fucking Jared.
Yeah.
God.
I would just say, look, this podcast won't even air.
Yeah.
We're going to get it on tape. That shows how old we are.
That's awesome.
You can take it back.
I
yourself.
think they should come on our shit. I think they should come on this shit. There's some podcasts that I've seen. Like wasn't Trump on Theo Von?
Yeah.
Or
He was.
I might just be saying that.
No, he was.
I mean, Mark Cuban was on it.
Would we get in trouble if we said we were interviewing Kamala Harris, but we weren't? Just to get clicks?
The Kamala Harris episode.
Oh,
Featuring
I know.
Kamala Harris, because we did feature her.
Okay, here we go. This is terrible. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
What if we get a Kamala Harris lookalike who doesn't really look like her to come on the show?
Well, they have
Say-
the one when famous. Oh, say what you said. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah. But
Say
we
what?
just say it in the, Kamala
Oh, yeah,
Harris.
yeah.
Or we find somebody else whose name is Kamala Harris that's not the VP.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, I bet it does. I bet they do.
I don't.
Because there's more than one.
I don't think so.
Hmm.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's a unique name.
Oh, maybe they spell it different. And we just misspelled it in the title. I don't know. We are openly talking about scamming people to click on a link.
Oh, go to YouTube. Holy
you go
shit.
to YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, you were
Yeah.
just saying. You
The
were telling me to go to
headlines.
YouTube.
It's so, when you think about it, it's like the name of the show Seinfeld.
Yeah.
No one's showing up for Seinfeld.
No.
It's a good show. It's good writing. It's all that stuff, right? It just works. And then it catches on and more people watch it and all this. But it's like now you have to watch like the name of the episodes or whatever. And the cover art has to be perfect. It's like the same music with the same shitty apartment in New York City. And you're like, that's the show? That would never work on YouTube. But that is what works because it's like you were saying before, it's good content. But now, they got me with the click. And I mean, they literally teach master classes on the shit of your thumbnail is actually the most important thing of your video. It's not what you say.
Nope.
It's the headline. It's the title. It might be the first line. Like that's less important. It's fucking crazy. And that's why people are sick and tired of it. They're like, I just want to write something good. I want to talk about something good. I want to put it out there. And if no one fucking listens to it, but these, for us, 12,000 people, you know what I mean?
Whatever.
Sorry,
I mean, 12,000 is nothing to balk at. But these are 12,000 very active people who love us.
12,436, maybe?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I leave all that stuff to you.
Yeah.
I just follow your lead.
Because I just want to leave out that 36, whatever, 12,436th sixth person.
Say it again.
Six.
Yeah. Go and try it again.
No, it's the mic.
Just slow it down.
12,436.
There you go.
Because you had to say the TH at the end.
Yeah. Sixth.
Seventh. There's actually just one more. So we'll do the seventh.
What if you had just drew that out of the time like sixth? It's like 27th.
Yeah.
And you didn't even know you did that.
Now we lost it.
No, we didn't.
But it's good because I got 23 minutes.
Well, the way Seinfeld could win on YouTube today, they'd have to have like George destroys.
Yes.
Elaine.
You use the word sensational. I wrote that down. You think
sensational doesn't work in a thumbnail? No. It needs to be destroys, eviscerates.
Blowing up like.
Blowing?
Yeah.
What? No.
Blowing up. Yeah.
Blows up,
But that's not good.
No. But it's bullshit. You're like, nobody's getting destroyed in this video.
Extreme?
Yeah. It could be like, unless you're talking about extremist.
No, I don't like that word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no good,
It's
it just
not
isn't.
good. Yeah.
I mean,
use the word election.
Election extremist.
Ooh, that could be good.
Yeah. He's an election extremist.
Election extremist. Gerald P. Nichols. I don't know.
You know what I want to talk about?
I don't have much time, but
Yeah, I know. Something me and my buddies that the guys that were former operators, I proposed an idea, more like a thought piece around this concept of tactical femininity.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about the intentional, acting out of feminine characteristics while still being a very masculine man.
That's cool.
In order to achieve a clearly defined objective, tactical femininity.
Okay.
There's more to it than that.
Yeah.
But that's as far as I've gotten.
I'm writing it down.
But I know that there's potential for more to it there. So tactical femininity, copyright, Jared Nichols.
Episode
TAC 14.
3, this is probably season 3.
Yeah.
This is episode 2. So the next episode is going to be in the title tag. Not this one's not. So
you're right, because we're going to jump into that. It's a little preview, guys.
Like in different universes, it might be. And that's something I want to talk about. I'm going to write that down.
Well, now I'm going to have to develop that thought piece a little bit more.
Versus parallel universe.
Nobody cares about the metaverse
alternate
anymore.
Reality. No, they fucking do.
No, we failed. We didn't save it.
But people are confused by the differences in it. So this is a call out to NDT. If he could come on here and explain the differences.
Let me tell you something about NDT. He wouldn't be able to explain shit about the metaverse.
Neil deGrasse, for those
most unscientific scientist out there.
Oh, God. I cannot wait till we talk to him.
It's going to be so good.
That is our purpose, to get Neil deGrasse.
He's going to want to throw hands and everything.
No. He'd be like, this room's fucking crazy.
He'd be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if, cameras off, he ends up being the coolest fucking guy in the world.
Oh, he's great. Where does he live?
I don't know.
California.
Probably.
He's got multiple houses. He's so famous.
Yeah.
He is.
He is famous.
Yeah.
Because he's a good communicator. But he's not all that smart.
I don't care. Where does he live?
He's not as smart as me.
Yeah. Astrophysicist.
Yeah.
Yeah. He went to Harvard, UT Austin, and Columbia. Wow. Harvard and Columbia. Those are schools you definitely want to say you went to.
Big time now,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Congratulations. Yale. Throw that one in there.
Throw it in there. Don't forget Princeton.
Yeah. Number 1.
Princeton's number 1 in what?
U.S. News and World Report. I don't know.
Oh, congrats.
Congrats. Real quick, and this is going to end the episode. Neil deGrasse Tyson is from, there you go, Manhattan.
Well, makes sense.
Easy.
New Yorkers think they know everything.
Yeah. This is his birthday month. Did you send him a card? October 5th.
No, I'm not sending him a card.
Yeah.
I don't want to get put on a stalker list.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you get the name deGrasse? Because his parents are Travis and Miranda Tyson.
Well,
so maybe his mom's name was
deGrasse.
deGrasse.
He's probably got a hyphenated name. They were big NPR supporters, so as all people on NPR have hyphenated names.
NASA Distinguished Public Service Medal. This guy's something else.
Yeah.
So.
No, I imagine he did good shit before he got famous.
He was just in Buffalo. Look at that. 3 days ago.
Yeah?
I don't think so. Live appearances for ticket information. This is 3 days. This is, I got to pull up Facebook, close that. Facebook's a fucking problem.
It is a problem.
This has been amazing.
Facebook is successful.
Let's do this tomorrow, next week.
Next week.
Yeah, I can't do tomorrow.
Or tomorrow.
I meant
whatever.
Next week, but I said tomorrow.
I like that.
Because time doesn't matter.
Hey, can I just say something?
It's a construct. Go ahead.
It's good to be back.
It is. 2 in a row.
2 in a row.
This is a habit. What is it? 1 is shame on you.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah.
Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times. I don't know.
I don't know. Dana Carvey's got something about that. With W.
Yes. That was the thing. Because he's the one who said it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. All right, man.
That's good. All right, buddy.
Love you.
Love you.